Hello all, welcome to Cloud Technologies, and we are very happy to announce that we are going to provide a free course for MuleSoft for all the freshers and beginners and who want to learn MuleSoft from scratch. This is entirely free course which we are going to release on day by day basis. So it will be a 30 days course, so it is very helpful for you to learn MuleSoft from scratch. And we have explained this course with the real-time project. We have built a real-time project also. In order to explain that, we have created a couple of files and project code as well. So if you want to get those files and projects, please email us with this subject line, request to share level 1 course file. Also, we have an important announcement that we are planning to release a MuleSoft advanced level 2 course very soon. So in this course, we will be discussing most of the topics of MuleSoft, which will help you very well in order to complete level 2 certification as well as to work on complex real-time projects as well. So I hope you will be enjoying that course as well. So if you want to know more details about advanced level course, please contact us via mobile or email. We will be sharing those details. So without further delay, let's get started. Yeah, hi, welcome back. So this is a continuation video of yesterday video. If you remember, we have faced one issue while creating new book record into the database. So let's fix that issue today in this video and we'll continue from there. Okay, so I'm just opening the Postman. So the thing is like earlier I missed this library code, the ramel little change, but there is no change actually. The request body I have captured it from the design center example which we have provided. There is no change in the request, but one thing you need to remember, once the book code is the auto generated one, right? So in our requirement we discussed, right, once the book is inserted into the database, a book code will be generated automatically, and that code you need to get it as a response, right? So in that case we no need to pass the book code here as a request body parameter. But what we have did earlier in the create new book input, what we have given book code also as the input query parameter in the properties. But we didn't mention anything required true or false. But by default, if you didn't mention anything required, it will automatically take it as a required true. So that is why we are facing some issues, right? So see, this time title is required, but for title we didn't mention anything required true or false. If you didn't specify anything, it will take all the properties or required parameters. So I did this change to fix that issue. So book code is not mandatory for us because this book code should generated automatically at a database side. We need to get that as a response. Right, so this is the one change I have done for create new book input. I have added required false. This is not the required one, and I published it with another version 1.0.1. Then we all published this with the latest version that need to be mapped here in the API specification also, right? So next step is let me just open Studio in the meanwhile. It will take some time, so yeah. In the background it will get open. Let's see this. So in the specification, what we have to do in the exchange modules and in the dependencies, earlier this response is this input is 1.0.0 only, but we have updated it with that particular change and we published it with new version. So we need to sync that particular fragment in our main API specification as well. So to do that, what we have done, here in the files I have added that 1.0.1 create book. This I have added as a dependency. Okay, and then here that is updated. Once next we go back to here in the exchange modules also it will get updated once you add that. So now the change would be here you need to update the path because earlier the version is different, right? So create book request, see here 101, earlier 100, now 10. This we need to do the change manually. earlier it would be 100. What you need to do, you need to just delete that one. You need to just copy this path, okay, and paste it here. That's it. Okay, now your ramel is also fixed. Now you need to publish this, the entire specification also you need to publish it with another version, because we did some change here, right? So you need to publish this. I already published it with 1.0.1 version. Here the ramel changes will end. Then we in the Anypoint Studio, in our code itself, what we need to do, we need to update that modules. Before that, yeah, maybe I can show you this later to avoid some confusion. Okay, okay, maybe let's see this later, but before that I'll show you this router configuration. And also you need to remember, initially we have created a couple of tables, right? So in the table, what we have created, the for the book information table, we have created book ID. So coming to router configuration, I need to just select this. See here, you need to change this to this API ramel. Now the version will automatically update. Okay, let it be. Let's save this. And let's see one more thing. Manage dependencies and manage APIs. So here we have not added any API. So let's add this latest version. We have only one API, and it is the latest version. The changes with the 1.0.1. Right. So we can add this. So whenever there is a new version, let's go for specification. No, it means it will again generate the ramel, I think. No, client close. Yes, so now let's see this router again. Got stuck. Let's wait. Yeah, so if you remember, we have created this book information table where we have added a book code column also as a normal column, but I just modified that a little bit. Let me just open this book info. So earlier this which one, the code, yeah, book code. Earlier this column, go to structure, this book code, this one is normal varchar I have created, right? Now I removed that column and I have added this book code column as an integer with auto increment. How you can do that? Why? What is the use of this means? For this book code column, automatically the field value is getting generated when you use auto increment, because you no need to concentrate on all these database related issues, because the database team will take care of it. But as we are doing we are practicing it, we are just working on this part as well. So this book code, how I can add means, first thing I'll have removed this book code, the old one. You can just select that column name and click on drop. Here one option will be there to drop that particular column. You can just select that column and click on drop. That column will get deleted from your table. Then what you need to do, go to your SQL. There you need to run one query called alter table. You can just remove this. You can give alter table and your table name, books info. Maybe you can just copy this table. Okay, let me just delete it now. Now alter table, your table name, add. Okay, you can use add and that column name, book code is your column, add column. Sorry, you need to mention that add column also. I'll provide, yeah, add column, book code, int means it is integer, and then now you need to first run this. You need to give auto increment. This one, this line of code you need to first execute. It will create one column with this book code. Maybe I'll show you with another one. I'll remove this column later. This will be easy for you. So I just added this www. So the column increment table. There can be only one auto column and it must be defined as a key. Okay, it is not allowing me to create one more column, but this is the syntax. Okay, you can just follow the syntax. Then once you add this, what you can do, like you can increment this. I will provide that syntax. 25th birthday. I have saved somewhere the syntax. I'll just maybe I'll give you, which is like how to add increment column in SQL database, right? Because I'm also new to this, I have done this actually with the initial value. Maybe once you add that, what you can do, once you add that column, you need to first and then you need to give some initial value. Like if you don't give any value, that is also fine. If you don't give any value, what the values will be there for that particular column is like it will take from 1 to 1 2 3, like that it will increment the values once you insert any row. But when I just keep it as 100 as the initial value, so once I enter any, once I create any row, that book code will be automatically generated from 100 numbers. So 100, 101, 102, 103, like that. So why I have did this? Because if you remember, our requirement is to get that book code back as a response. Right? Let me just close this. I will show this later. So in our requirement, what is our requirement? Once we insert the data into the database table, the row, what we are expecting as a response, we need to get response like book added successfully, and the column name, column number also, book code column ID also we need to get as a response. So that is our requirement, right? So that is why instead of inserting the new row from here and get the query that database again from there and here, because database is not related to us, we are not going to create tables and all. So just to avoid that complexity, what I have done, I have just created one column, that book code column, as an auto increment column. So once we insert any data into this book database, when books info table, the book code column number will be automatically generated by using this auto increment. It will generate 100, 101, 102, 103, like that. So what will happen? We can directly get that field name as a response. But instead of again using the select operation to query that particular books info table and to get that book code, we have an option here in the insert operation itself. What you can do, what column you are going to get as a response as per your requirement. So now in my requirement, I want to get book code column number as a response, right? That you can mention here in the advanced tab. Here you have an option called auto generated keys. By default it is false. You need to change this to true. Then you need to give auto generated keys indexes. You need to select edit inline. Initially it will be none. You need to select edit inline and you need to give the index of the column. Index of the column, how you can get? So here you can just go to your table and go to structure. You will find all the column names, right? Index will start with 0, right? So the index for this library code, the column number is 1 but the index is 0. You need to do -1. So book code is, the serial number is 9 but you want to get index. Index means -1. So 8, book code column index is 8. So you need to mention that 8 here. In your case, maybe your column name is appear here. Maybe you have added book code here. So the serial number is 3. But your index is 3 minus 1, 2. So you have to give 2 here as an index value. Like that you need to calculate accordingly. Okay. Then the second one is auto-generated key column names. Column names also you can mention. So initially it will be none. You need to select edit inline and you need to just provide the column name as it is. Don't use another case sentences and all. It is a case sensitive. So say use all the small letters or capital letters which are available here. Just you can just copy it from here directly and click on add and paste it here. Sorry, it isn't copy. So you can just select this, click on copy, come here and paste here and remove any extra spaces are there. So like that you need to add the column name also. These two changes you need to do in your insert database table. So in this case what we can make sure, the book code or the index of that particular column, it will get as a response. It will send as a response in our payload. But for now I have just captured it as a normal payload. I will show you how you can get the actual book code field only. Because yeah, once we run this you will get understand what it will do. Maybe I'll run it as a debug mode only. Let's see if there is any exceptions and all. And coming to this payload, I just added this library code field and remaining fields are same. I just captured all these fields from this one, like the RAML syntax, RAML definition. Here we have this input, right? So from here, I took one by one field, book code, right? But book code now we make it as a false, right? So we can capture all the other fields and just giving some dummy response. But remember in our table we have only IBS library codes, we have only 2 codes. So you need to use the same codes. IBS 111, IBS 112. If you want to add new library code here, first you need to insert this library into the library table. Then only it will give, data will be on sync, right? So let it deploy the debug mode. There it is. Yeah, click on S. It is deployed. Now let's test this once. Throws exception. I think yeah, book the RAML is not updated. There it is. Yeah. Missing required fields book code. The RAML is not mapped here correctly. Let's fix that. Because now we made book code as an optional field, right? So it should not comply in this. Let's go to this global connector. Let's see this fix. I'll show you. I'll tell you why what I have done. Don't worry. This is the okay. It is not new version only. The RAM. Here also it is new fragment, but still it is throwing error. Let's see. Let's do this again. Let's run this again. You can see the dependency is updated. I have added the module, but think I need to scaffold the flows. Oh, it is not deployed yet. Let's wait. Then let's trigger and let's see. Maybe one thing I missed. While adding this RAML as dependency, you need to generate the flows. So we can do that maybe. It will sync. Okay, let's try now. If it fails, then we can do that. I think it will fail again. There it is. What happened? Yeah, we got the response. But what? Yeah, I didn't run it in debug mode or what? Yeah, I didn't keep any debug points. Yeah, it's my bad. So this is how happen. Even if you run in debug mode, if you didn't keep on debug points, it won't show you anything here. But that's okay. You got the response, right? See, book added successfully, and this response is the complete payload. See, the generated key is 107. Once if you can see, if you can test it in the database in the books info table, what it will do, it will create one row. I mean, it already created one row with this. Let me just see now. Extra row is also added with 107. This book code 107 I have not given here. Right? It will automatically generate it, and that generated book code is coming as a response here. But here the response is little different, because once you insert the data into a database, you will get normal response as affected rows. But now we are actually asking to provide this generated key also, right? So it is coming like this. This is the complete payload coming back from the database. As we have just mentioned only payload in our database, I mean in our data view, you are getting this kind of response. We need to do some transformation here. So let's do that. Let's keep this somewhere, this response. First, it is easy for us to. Okay, so this is the one, but I mean this is the response we are getting. But what is the expected response? Result is book added successfully. Now you need to get book code. So here you need to get only 107, not the complete data. You need to receive the auto-generated value here, like 107, like this. So now we are getting a response. I'll just separate this. Now we are getting a response like this whenever you print complete payload. But your actual response, expecting response is like this. You need to grab only 107 here and send it as a book code. So to do that, we need to drive through some database, I mean data view configurations. We'll just write some data view code to get this value and print it here. Let's see that how we can do that. So to practice that and to see how you can do any data view code or anything, to practice any data view code, we have a tool called Data View Playground, which is a MuleSoft one only. Okay, you can just type Data View Playground. You can take the first link. It will show you how you can transform. I mean, it will show you this is the input. Here you need to write the data view transformation. This is the output. So you can play around with this tool. You can practice as many as things if you want to get the required response. right? So here is the input. You need to click on this JSON. You need to give your input, which you are getting. Now you need to transform this input to this format, right? So let's try that first. So you need to just click on JSON. You can come here and you need to write the data view code here. So what you are expecting, your expectation, what is you are expecting output, you can just copy this and paste it here. Okay, but it is just pasted hard coded, but you need to get it like dynamically. So remove this value. You need to read this value from here. So to read this entire thing is called as payload. Whenever you say payload, it will print everything, right? So instead of that, you need to select payload dot generated keys here, because in our case we actually, that actual thing is this payload, the actual response from database. So the actual response from database is just generated key. Right, that is why if you can run it in a debug mode, it will be easy for you to find out. Maybe to avoid some confusion, I can also do that. But here you cannot. Okay, let's take the payload like this only. Only the database response, nothing more than that. Okay. Okay, now what you can do, payload dot, you can, once you click dot, it will show you the remaining keys, main keys. So main one is generated keys. So you can add, sorry, you can select generated keys. Inside the generated keys, what is the key? Generated key. Once you click dot, it will show that as well. You can just click that. See, now we have write the code here, but the value is coming here like this. Now you can use this data view code here. Instead of writing payload, you can just put payload dot that key name dot whatever, unless you can you want to get the entire value, you want to get this value. So you need to first click this, then you need to access this, then it will give you the value like that. This is a very simple transformation. Once you do practice, it will be easy, right? So maybe let's run this in normal mode. Let's see this response. Okay, it is deployed. Let's test. Let's change some data. The title I can give test 27 sep something, just to see the difference. So I am just clicking send. See, now you got the response. Book code is 108 now, because it is the data is added as a new book in the books table, and it book code that means the book code column is auto generated with that key. Earlier it is 107, so the next key is 108, right? Next number is, so it is generating the next number. Maybe you can refresh this. I just wanted to show you that field as well. Okay, so let's go to browse, and let's see. See, 108 is your code. This number we have not given as an input or something. It will generate automatically 100, 101, 102, 103. It will get generated automatically because we have given this column as auto increment. And now whenever you specify any column name or index here in the auto generated keys, what will happen? It will go to that table and it will get that value of that particular field. It will give it as a auto generated key. But you need to do little transformation to get the exact response. Earlier you got the response like this. the entire database payload, because we have kept payload. But now we want to access this value. So payload dot this key dot inside that this is the key. So payload dot generated keys and generated key. Then this value will come automatically. So earlier it is 107, but now it is again new book added. So it will give you the code as 108. Right. So I think I hope you understood this one for now. Alright, so we have done with this requirement as well. Let's concentrate on another requirement and let's move further. Let's extend this. Let's extend this one by one. We need to do a lot of things in this project, right? So let's do one by one. Let's proceed further. So to create a new book and get the book ID as a response in the auto-generated key, you can follow this process. Don't bother about this database code and these columns added, triggered, and something like that, because in real time you are not going to work on anything related to database queries and tables, schemas, and all. You will just accept that. And in this requirement, you need to first get the in this particular functionality, you need to first make sure, as part of requirement session, you need to check with that particular database team what is the key I need to get as a response. Like in your response, it is the book code, right? But maybe sometimes in the database the column name will be different. So you need to get that column name from the requirements. What column name I can pick? Use a library code or book code or any other code, something. You need to first get that information. That's it. So accordingly, you can add that index and the column name here in this auto generated keys section of advanced tab. Alright, this will make our life easy to get that response back. Instead of doing too many database calls, you can do in this way. Right. So now the last one is, in this particular project, for particular SAPI, we need to implement one more feature, which is to get the book details based on the rating and all. It is just easy because we have already done 2 get methods. It is very easy for us to complete that. Let's do that. Okay. So let's see our last feature, get the book details based on the rating and library code, right? So to do that, no, it is not, yeah. So to do that, it is also like related to book, right? So book information IMPL, in that only we can implement. And also we need to use the select operator only, because we are going to pull the data from the database. Okay. So let me rename this. Get books details based on rating. Maybe you can give any name like this. And for this also, the connector configuration is same, the same database we are going to use, but the query will change little. Right, we can have the query here. Let's go to this. We can get the query from here maybe. Let me expand the tables. But here remember, we are going to send query parameters like rating and what is the other one? Library code maybe, right? So let me create new request, and this is the get request only. This time we are going to provide the query parameters. So to give any query parameters, the syntax, in the URL, the syntax would be the question mark. After question mark, if you have any key value pairs, it will treat as a query parameter. Let me remove this. Let me give the query parameters here in the params. Here you will get the URL. You can capture that. Okay. So here, what I am going to do, rating. I am going to give rating equal to 4. See, observe the URL here. After the books is the path, then it will append question mark, because after question mark, if you have any key value pair, that is nothing but query parameter. Right. The next one, library code. What is available library code for us? It is IBS 311. Right. So first let's form the URL. I is not copied, so I. So whenever you See, whenever you add any number of query parameters, first query parameter will, any query parameter will start with question mark, because it will separate the resource path and the query parameter. In the URL, whenever you see any question mark, it means that after that you will find any key value pairs of query parameters. And if you have more than one query parameter, it will append with ampersand symbol, and symbol. So as we have two query parameters, your URL will looks like this. So now once we hit this URN, because we have not yet implemented it. So once we click send, what it will do, it should go to that database. It should pull, it should pull the books details related to these two parameters. Rating is for IBS 111 library. Let's see if any books are available. Otherwise, let's create some data. So maybe here also you can check with the query. So in the query, how you can do is where library code equal to IBS 111. Here you can write normal and, because this is the SQL syntax. So and what is the other parameter? It is rating. Rating equal to 4. Let's run this query. See, two books are available which are having rating 4 and library code is 111. Just like that, if you have anything like show query box, yeah. If you have let's see in library 112, how many books are available? Here 3 books are available. See, so based on the condition we are sending, it should pull the data from the database and it should display as a response. So this is the actual query we need to use in our database connector, right? But these values you need to send dynamically by using input parameter. You can remove the single quotes in the syntax. Here in our database connector, you no need to add single quotes for the columns. So remaining query will be same, but the values you need to send dynamically by using input parameters. So whatever the values you are sending here in the URL, these two values we need to send as an input parameter to here, and from that input parameter you need to map it here in the actual query, just like we did for other post method, right? So in URL you will get the values like this: rating equal to 4 and ampersand and library code equal to IBS 111. But in the runtime we need to convert those values as a query, SQL query like this. Then only it will go to the database, it will run this query, it will pull the values, and we need to get the response back. So in the background it will be happening like this, right? So what we can do, first let's capture what we are getting. So we are getting these values, rating and library code, by using query parameters in our REST API of MuleSoft, right? So we need to first capture those query parameters dynamically, and we need to save it into some variables. Let's do that first, okay? So to create variables, I have already told you two methods. We can go with the set variable transformer, or you can go with data view itself. Right, so let's create variables this time. So we have already seen data view variables, right? So let's use this. So set variable, you need to give variable name. You can give any name here, but this name you need to map dynamically in the database. So rating, where I can give like this, just to make you differentiate. You can give direct rating also, but it will make you some confusion. So as this is the variable name, I just added rating where. But in real time, you don't need to add this where or something. You can use any name or any naming conventions, right? So this rating where should read the value of this rating query parameter. So here, while in the URL we are sending rating equal to 4, we need to read that in the data view, and we need to save that value into this variable. This variable we need to send as a dynamic variable here, right? So to do that, we need to first save this somewhere, like the rating where. In the rating where, how you can get the query parameters in Mule syntax, you need to follow all the query parameters, headers, URI parameters, everything will be available into attributes. Once you click three letters and click tab, it is not coming, but that's okay. You can just click here. You can read like, you can read like attributes dot query params. It is not showing suggestions here. Maybe let's try in data view, because in this case you need to remember the syntax, but I want to make you little easy way. So let's use data view only. So here just to click on this variable, here select variable, create one variable, just like rating where. Okay, so now you can remove everything, and you can remove the payload one as well. We no need to change any payload. So in the rating where, you can just delete everything. You can read the query parameters by using this syntax. You can say att or, no, it is not, okay, attributes dot query params. Here also it is not showing any suggestions. That's okay. You can remember this for now. Attributes dot query params dot this parameter name, exact name what you are giving here, the URL query parameter name, right? Or else, yeah. All right. So here you have captured one variable. Let me go back to this API, and here you need to invoke that particular flow in here get method, right? So here, see, this is the payload we have given. Let's remove this, because you need to invoke that actual flow here. Okay, so yeah, I'm going back to the books info AMPL, and here I have created one variable which is reading that rating one, and I need to create one more variable. Here the another variable is library code. So let me say take the same name. I mean, here you can give any name, variable name you can give any name, but to read it you need to give same name. So here lib code I can give lib code where, for your understanding, where. Okay, now let's remove everything, and how you can read the variables. See, it is under attributes. Okay, so attributes dot query params dot that query parameter name from the URL. Right, so now you have created two variables. One is rating where, another one is libcode where. Now what you need to do, you need to map these two variables dynamically here. Instead of giving the actual value, what you can do, you need to map through input parameters. So now the input parameters, you need to create two parameters. Just like this you can give. Okay, maybe let me just take a reference of this. This data view is doing something weird here. Okay, in the JSON object, let's create two variables. Here in the input parameter section, we need to give two variables, and those variables should read, you need to create two input parameters. Those parameters should read the values from the variables which we have created. Right, so one is L code. I am just giving it as L code here, or else libcode colon. You need to get the value from the variable, right? So now where's dot whatever the variables you have created here, it should give the suggestions over there, but something is missing. So library code is this one, right? So you can copy this variable. So here, and one more variable, put comma, and one more variable is rating, right? So rating colon. It is also available in wheres. So earlier in the insert, the values are available in the payload, means input payload, input request. So that is why we read through payload object. But now the values are available in the variables. In the variables also it is in the query params. We have already captured it. So that is why now we read these values by using wheres. Right? Remember these differences. Practice it well. It will be easy for you. Okay. So now the another variable is rating. I am just clicking edit. Rating. Right. So now I have two input parameters. I need to bind these input parameters in the query. So we need to use this terminology called bind while you are sending through input parameters. So copy this code and to give here what is the syntax, colon and this input parameter name, and the rating again colon and this input parameter name. We have already seen this in insert query, right? So now we have done the configuration. So now let's rename this get books based on rating and the lib code. Okay, right. So now we have send input parameters here. Maybe this we can rename it as input query params. Now we triggered this database. Now you need to capture the response from the database. Get books response. Okay, so here for now, as this is the system API, we are not going to do any transformations. So for now, let's capture everything in the JSON format as it is. So to capture all the payload, you need to use only one single line called payload. So it will give you all the response coming from the database in the JSON format. It will display like that. So let's save this. Now we have done with the implementation, but you need to invoke this this flow here in your actual API. Here the gets books resource. This is the actual resource, right? So for the other three resources we have already implemented and we have invoked by using flow reference. We have invoked the particular implementation flow. Just like that, we will use another flow reference here in the get books resource. Let's invoke that flow here. Here, what is the flow we implemented? Where is it? Get book details based on rating, right? So you need to just select this flow. Remember, every time you need to change the display name. Don't give the default display name. That is also one best practice. Don't go with the default display names. Okay. Right. I think it got stuck. Let's wait. Now it is released. Okay. So now we have what is the logger here? Get books flow. We can name it as start logger, and I'll tell you how many loggers we need to use in any flow. We'll discuss that later. Okay. Right, now we have done the implementation and we have invoked here. Now once you deploy it locally, once you click this URL, you need to get the response from the database. Let's test this quickly. So I am going to run it in a normal mode. Let's see if any errors occurs, then we will debug it. Okay, just to save time, I'll just run it in a normal run as Mule application. But the local variable is already available there, the attributes we have already used it. So maybe you can go to run configuration, it is selected and the environment variable is also available. Let's just click on run. Let's try to test this. Before that, I would like to save this into this collection. Name you can change. And remember, so far we have not deployed this updated code into CloudHub. If you try to test this into CloudHub URL, you will not get the actual response. We have to deploy all this updated code into CloudHub. That is why CI/CD come into picture. Okay, so if you did any change manually like this. If you forget anything to deploy into CloudHub, CloudHub will not have all the updated code. So if anyone who is accessing that API, they will not get updated output. Right. So to avoid this manual intervention, only CI/CD come into picture. Like once you done this code, once you implement this code, once you commit this code into that Azure DevOps or GitHub anywhere in your coding remote repository, automatically the code updated code will deploy into the CloudHub. That is why continuous development. I mean continuous integration, continuous delivery, CI/CD. So that is the main uses of CI/CD actually. As this is the time, I just wanted to give you one line of information. We will see CI/CD also by using Jenkins. Maybe we will see that by end of this course. But that is the main advantage. Because see, if we have done a lot of implementation, we have committed the code, but the code is not available in CloudHub. So if someone access that CloudHub URL, or once maybe if we deliver this to client, they will once they use that because they will not test this with your local host URL. So once they test that code into their I mean by using their CloudHub URL, I mean our CloudHub URL of REST API, okay, they will not get the updated result, they will not get updated output, they will get only that default responses which we have added in the initially. Get flow is executed successfully, something like that. They will get only those default responses. This updated response actual data they will not get, because we have not deployed this code into CloudHub yet. Remember, this is the this is the correct the place where CI/CD come into picture to save time and to save this manual intervention, to avoid this manual intervention. Once we commit the code into the Azure DevOps, by using this git push, we will push the code to remote repository, right? So once the code is available in the remote repository, it will automatically deploy into the CloudHub. So we no need to worry about the deployment part once we set up that pipeline. Okay, all right. So let's try to test this. Bad request. Okay, in headers I have not passed this client ID secret, right? Yeah, I forgot. Let me copy. So see, this is the one. Like whenever you see GUID request, just check your headers or your URLs. Let's try here. The params is query parameter. Headers are your client ID secret ones. Main bad request. Get method. Let me see, is there any URL changes? Required query parameter rating not specified. Acha, okay, sorry. We have given this query parameters in RAML, right? You need to give in the same way. You cannot change that case. Like if it is uppercase, you should follow the same case. Like capital letters or small letters, everything you need to follow the same. That is the error actually. Yeah, okay, so we have given rating, but all the texts are in small letters, but in RAML maybe we can define this with some capital letters or some unit cap like that. So this is how validation works in RAML. If you miss something, it will throw this validation errors. Right, so not that. Let me yeah, let me just, maybe we can check here also this query parameters, right? You can check here. Yeah, so rating, this is the one, capital rating. Now you need to go change the code also, okay? Because see, yeah, this is the rating, because you have defined sorry, you have where it is, yeah, you have defined query parameters like this. So you need to follow same case sensitive, same capital letters and small letters stuff, right? So now what we need to do, we need to change the code also, because while reading this query parameters, we have given here. I have given the normal one only. So library code, you need to change this keys as well. And the rating, you need to use the same name. I have given small r, but in the RAML it is capital R for this rating. For library code, I have given a small L here, but in RAML I have defined library code as L capital L. So each and everything it will validate. So yeah, so we have done because no need to change any other thing because these variables are same. Libcode where and rating where this we have defined it here itself, right? So there is no further changes. Only while reading the query parameters, you need to read the correct parameter from the URL which we are giving. And these variables also, as we have already defined in the RAML, you need to give the same name. So that's it. Right. So let me. Oh, it is already deployed. Yeah, I had clicked on save. It is already auto deployed. Let's maybe try to test once. See, now you got the response. Right. So we have already cross-validated this with the database, right? You have two books for this IBS 111 rating 4. You have only two books in the database. So that is why two books information it is getting. So remember, whenever you got this bad request, okay, what you need to check, you need to check if you missed any headers, or you need to check if your URL is correct or not, and you need to check if your query parameter names are correct or not. That is why earlier it throws like required parameter rating is missing. That is the error we are getting. We got it, right? So now what I have done, I just cross verified that with my RAML. So I just changed the query parameter names as we defined, then now it works, right? So this is how you need to work in your real-time environment also if you have any issues. So let's see, for IBS 111 we got two books, that is fine, but for IBS 112 library we have seen three books are there with rating 4. Let's test that as well. I think yes, you got three books details. See, whenever you see this complete set of data, this is called one object, and this is another object, this is another object. Three objects you get means three books details you got it from the database. So right, so I think we are done with all the four requests. I mean four what is that, four features which we are going to implement. We have done with the implementation of all the four features, all the four methods, or all the four resources of our library management system API by now. But we have not yet implemented error handling, that we need to see. Before you implement this error handling into this project, you need to know what is the error handling and what are the features available in MuleSoft, how you can achieve that error handling in a complete in-depth detail. So I will publish two videos approximately for this error handling that will contain theoretical part and one example. That is not related to this project, but it is a common thing. We need to first understand everything about error handling. Then we will come back and we will implement the error handling strategies here in our project. Right? See, if we implement something here, you will assume like this is only the error handling part we have in MuleSoft. So to make you more understand what are the different error handling strategies available in MuleSoft, I have created separate two videos that I will publish later after this video, right? So one thing you need to remember, whenever you are done with your local testing, if everything is working fine, what you need to do, you need to commit the code. So go to the System Explorer, because you should not miss the working code. It is always a better practice to test the code locally like this, like we did. See, earlier the code is not working. We are getting that rating query parameter issue. So by that time, if you commit the code, there is no use. But now the code is working fine. We have adjusted the code. We have modified the code. It is working fine. Now it's time to commit the code to make all the working copy of code, right? So git head dot. I don't see git status now because you know how to do that, right? So I'll commit this code, git commit -m space in double quotes, get books or yes, resource implementation code. Get add is there, get comment. What happened? It is getting error. Comment hyphen. Okay, sorry. After hyphen, I have given space by mistake. So yeah, let me remove that. That's what. Yeah. Yeah. Now it is committed. Now let's push to remote repository. Git push origin origin. Now updated code is there in Azure DevOps. As we have not yet set up the pipeline, it will not deploy automatically. We need to deploy it manually into CloudHub. Right. So yeah, we have check commit the code. You can check it in two ways actually. Even you can just directly check in the Azure DevOps, or maybe you can just come and refresh this. You should not see this arrow marks once you commit it. So let me refresh. No, no need. Actually, it's gone, right? So now everything you see for all the files, you see the cylinder symbol, yellow cylinder symbol. It means your code is up to date. It means you have committed the entire code into Azure DevOps, and the code available in Azure DevOps is also there in, like, both your local code and Azure DevOps is in sync, in simple words. Okay, so yeah. Please do practice this all these four features. So as I said, let's see error handling, and then let's continue the other topics. Thank you.